Hello everyone. Today we will be studying analysis of the roof truss. So for studying the analysis of the roof truss, one must know the different components of the roof truss. In the diagram, you will be observing different components of the roof truss. The bottom cord is called as a main tie, which is the tension member. The inclined cord is called as a principal rafter, which is a compression member. The top, then inclined member is a sling member, whereas the erected members or the straight members are called as a strut. Sling carries tension force, strut carries compression force, main tie carries tension force, and the inclined member, that is the principal rafter, carries the compression force. Then you will be in the diagram, you will be observing the plan area. It is calculated by using the center to center distance between the two trusses. So for the analysis, our first step is to calculate the geometry of the truss. So first of all, we have to calculate the inclination, that is the theta. Then we have to calculate the pitch. Pitch is nothing but the ratio of rise to the span of the truss. Here is the formula of the pitch and denoted by the letter P. Ratio, and this ratio is commonly 1 by 4, that is 0.25. Then after we are calculating the plan area. Plan area is equals to plan width in the panel multiplied by the cross section distance, that is center to center distance between the trusses. So this plan width is nothing but the L, that is width of the panel point, into the cos of theta multiplied by the center to center distance between the truss. For heavy rain region, the pitch distance is taken between 1 by 2 to 1 by 3. Then we have to calculate the load acting on the roof truss. The first load which is acting on the roof truss is dead load, which is also called as a self weight. It is calculated by using IS 875 part 1. It includes the self weight of every element. So first of all, we will be calculating the weight of a roof covering. Weight of a roof covering may be in the form of a AC sheet or a GI sheet. For AC sheet, it is 120 to 150 Newton per meter square, and for GI sheet it is decreased up to 85 Newton per meter square, and this load act on the panel points. Then weight of the purlin is generally taken as 90 to 150 Newton per mm square. Then the third step in the dead load calculation is calculating the weight of the bracing. The weight of the bracing is assumed in between 10 to 15 Newton per meter square on a plan area. Thereafter, the self weight of the truss, it is calculated by the formula span by 3 plus 5 into 10, and the value which is calculated is in Newton per meter square. Then we are calculating the live load which is acting on the roof truss. The live load, for the calculation of the live load, we are utilizing IS 875 part 2. So in this, the table shows the live load of the roof truss. For an inclination less than 10 degree, if the axis is provided, the live load is taken as 1500 Newton per meter square. Whereas if we don't provide any kind of axis, the live load is taken as 750 Newton per meter square. For theta greater than 10 degree, the formula is directly given: 750 minus 20 into bracket theta minus 10 This is the formula for calculation of the live load, whereas this load should not be less than 400 Newton per meter square. The next step to calculate of the loading is the wind load. It is calculated by using IS 875 part 3. The first step for the calculation of the wind load is to calculate the designed wind pressure. It is calculated by using the formula Pz is equals to 0.6 Vz square. This formula is given on page number 12 of IS 875. Then here Pz represent the design wind pressure in Newton per meter square. Vz represent the design mean velocity in meter per second. Then the next step is to calculate the wind speed. Vz is equal to, it is calculated by using Vz is equals to Vb, K1, K2 and K3. The formula is on page number 8. The clause number for the formula is clause number 5.3. Now Vb means basic wind speed, K1 means probability factor or a risk factor. It is given on table number 1, page number 11. Here K1 is assumed as 1 for the period of 50 years. Then K2, it is also called as terrain height and structure size factor. It is calculated from table number 2, page number 12. Then K3, it is topography factor. It is calculated from table number calculated by clause number 5.3.3. Then the lastly we have to calculate the wind force which is acting on the member. It is calculated by using F is equals to CPE minus CPI into A into PZ. It is calculated by using clause number 6.2.1, where Cp is external pressure coefficient and Cpi is internal pressure coefficient. It is calculated by using clause number 6.2.2. Here A is surface area of the structural element. Now from table number 5 we have to calculate Cpe, and it depends upon the height and width of the building. So in the diagram you will be observing the plan area of a truss. This side is windward side, this side is the leeward side of a truss, and the direction is normal to the ridge of the truss. Then in CPI it is calculated by using clause number 6.2.3. It depends upon the permeability of the building, that is opening provided in the building. So from the table given you will be observing for the zero permeability CPI is 0. When normal permeability, that is 55% of walls are provided in the structure, CPI is equals to plus or minus 0.2. For the medium permeability, that is 5 to 20% opening, CPI is plus or minus 0.5. And when there is a large permeability, that is opening is greater than 20% area of the building, that time CPI is plus or minus 0.5. Now after calculating the dead load, live load and wind load, we have to draw the panel point load diagram. So this is the panel point load diagram for the dead load and live load. The load will be acting on every panel point perpendicular to the main tie, whereas for the wind load, this load, that is panel point load, will be perpendicular to the principal rafter. Then we have to analyze and calculate the forces in each member. After calculation of the forces in each member, we have to draw a table in this manner. The contents of the table are member, for example L0, L1, length of that member, forces which we have calculated for dead load, live load and wind load for that particular member. Then the load combination according to the IS 800, that is 1.5 times the dead load plus live load, 1.5 times dead load plus wind load, and last load combination is 1.2 times dead load, live load and wind load. After this, from the load combination, the maximum tension force and maximum compression force is noted, and lastly from these two the design force is calculated. And in the remark we have to write that the element is either compression member or a tension member. In this way the analysis of the roof truss is done, member forces are calculated, and thereafter the design of the truss will be done. For design of the members, keep watching the further videos.